So this is Karthik. So today we are going to talk about the PHP unit test. I will explain about what method we are following for writing the PHP unit test in our theme or plugin. So this is the basic documentation which we follow to write the PHP unit test. This is for our sample plugin. So we will be creating the plugin folder and sample plugin name, and we'll be navigating to the command line to this particular plugin, and we will be executing a scaffold command which will create the sample test plugin. So this will be executed and we will be getting the success message, and these are the files which will be created once the scaffold command is executed. So next, we will be running this bash command to install the WordPress setup. This bash command is needed. Before that, we will be creating a dummy database in our local host, and using this, we will be providing the dummy database. The database is used for the test. We don't use the real database. We enter the values of database, username, password, and host, and we connect the database using that. And we run this command. So once this command is run, we get the tables that are needed for running the test cases. So after executing, we get a message like this. And finally, in the scaffold build, we will be getting a file like this, PHPUnit XML.this, and we need to rename it to XML, and it will be looking like this. And we can configure this PHPUnit.xml, and we will look into this the upcoming sessions. Now, once we execute the PHP unit, we can see the result of the test case that we have written. So let's check how we have written in our theme. So in our theme, let's first start with the register block class file. So this is a class file which is used to register the custom post type, and we have written a test class. So this class file uses the construct method which calls the hooks, and the setup hooks calls the register post type using the WordPress init method, and this register post type callback method registers the blog, resources, events, and news. So 4 post types are registered over here. So we are going to write the test cases for all those codes in this file. So this class file is in the path. You can see themes, which are includes and classes. So we have written the test in the test include and classes. We follow the same structure as the main file. So we have added the test folder and includes classes, and we have added the test-class register post types. So in the PHP unit.xml, we will be mentioning the test suite, and it will be checking the prefix and suffix like this. Whatever the file with test hyphen will be tested, and the suffix will be PHP will be tested. And we are providing the test folder, which is the exactly where the testing files are located. So it is mentioned in the PHP unit.xml file, and we have a test bootstrap.html PHP file which is created during the scaffold. So this has all the logics of the unit test, that the main required functions of the unit tests are added. So you can see the PHP unit polyfills path is also included in this file. So now let's get into the register post type is classified. So here, this one, PHPUnit class ensures that the custom posts are registered using the register post types, and they are hooked and configured. So it is written using the WP unit test, which gives access to some WordPress test utilities. So first we will go with the setup method, so which will create an, first we will get an instance of the post types. I'm calling the singleton and ensuring the post types are registered before each test is run using this method. This guarantees this consistent test environment is created. So next comes the init action. So init action, what it does is that in this I'm using the reflection class API to call the protected method, which is the setup hooks. So here, let's open this file over here. So we are using the setup hooks method. So for writing the unit test for this, since it is a protected class, we need to call it using the reflection class only. It is a built-in PHP method to call the protected method. So here we use this class, and this checks whether the class correctly hooks the register post types. So this one checks whether the class correctly hooks up the register post types in the init method. So here you can see these are the methods, and set accessible is used to overcome the visibility. So since it is a protected method, so this is the usual method we will be following for any reflection classes. And we check here which is not assert not false. So it guarantees that the register post type is called in the init function. So next comes the test construct call. So here this test ensures that even a constructor is called manually, it still sets up the necessary actions again. I use the reflection to bypass the construction over here also. I can see the reflection class is used since this method is taking the constructor over here, whether this construct is called to set up the hooks. The same method we have used here is also used here. And you can see this is a built-in PHP method to create instances without calling that singleton method. So here we check the constructor is initialized or not. And again, we check if a setup hook is called inside the constructor, init action should be set. And from this one to this one, we are checking whether the register post types are registered correctly using the post type exists method. True, then this method will return, this function will return true, and this assert true will be executed. So this test will pass. And similarly, we have added the custom post types which we have registered. And finally, we have checked whether the post type, resource post type supports the title. So here you can see in the registered post type resources, we have the supports attribute which has title, editor, and many fields over here. So let's check only the title, whether it supports the title or not. So assert true, post type supports is a default function. If this is true, the assert true function will be true, and this case will be passed. And over here we can checking the labels. So blog post type has some labels like singular name and label. So both are blocked. So we are testing whether assert equals to blog. This is the expected value, and this is the receive value. So if both are equal, this test will pass. And similarly, singular name and menu name should be equal. Test will pass when this both matches. So let's test how it works for the register post type which we have written. So let us clear it. Now to run the PHP unit test, we need to navigate to the vendor bin PHP unit path, and I am running it. So you can see the register post types class is covered over here, 100%. Lines covered. Just ignore other things. Let's focus on this register post types. 100, 252 lines are covered, and 100% is covered over here. You can see all the tests have passed. Well, we have written only 3 tests, and 21 assertions have been passed. Register post types, it will be lesser, so it will be fewer tests and fewer assertions. You can see the code coverage as well. It is 100% covered for the register post types. So let's see how the code coverage is done. So here we have a folder which is created automatically. So let me open the register post type HTML. You can see this file has been covered 100% with all the unit tests. So it is covered 100%. You can see it is showing over here. Similarly, we have written PHP unit test for a block-based file, and you can see we have written block-based file test class, which is the base class for registering the blocks. This is the base class for registering all the blocks. I have written a test case. And for another custom block, let me show you the custom block. So here we have written the test for the custom block assets SRC block resource listing test resource listing.php. This is the test file, and this is the main block file for which the resource listing block, which is a dynamic block, is rendered. So we have written a test class for this resource listing block as well. Here we will be registering the post type, taxonomy, and we'll be adding the taxonomy to this post type using the setup method. And using this instance, we are creating this resource block over here, block instance over here, and we are creating the parent term and child term, and creating a post category using the WP insert, and using this resource post, using this factory create method, we are creating a post in the resource, and we are adding the post terms which we have already created over here, the parent and child, and in the dummy attributes. Finally, we are we are rendering using these attributes. We call the render callback method, and this will have all the DOM which is executed using this render callback method, and this HTML will have all the DOM values. And using this assertion string methods, we check whether this assert is a string. Assert concern is string like resources. This is for the navigation items. This is for the child topics. Some test resource which we have already created over here. You can see test resource post title. So we are checking whether that HTML contains the test resource, and we are asserting using this method, this for resource post listing. And this method, when there is no posts in that resource listing, we are verifying the test using the assisting contain string no post found. So when there is no post, the custom poster, we getting the string no post found. So we are verifying it with this particular string, and if it is the string is present, the test will pass. So you can see we have returned the methods for block base and resource listing. So all the tests are passed, 12 tests and 21 assertions. And the block coverage result, let's go to Vitria, assets, SRC, blocks, and resource listing. So we can see some of the codes are not covered. For just for testing, we have used this, covered the few of the codes. And if we look at includes, classes, block base, we have covered 100%. And in register post type, if we have covered 100% of the code. So that's it with the PHP unit test. So thank you. Thank you for watching.